Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, and welcome to Dev Talks. This is Adi Achint, and this is the time for our regular science lesson from Marshal, Bedi. Let me just say this, sir. You've become a good old college professor to a lot of us, and I really appreciate you take out the time to explain to us military technology, which actually a common man will never be able to access you because the way it has been written in books and in papers is so difficult to understand that none of us will be able to pick it up. So I thank you for making the effort and coming here and doing the shows with us so that we can actually understand. So the subject for today, ladies and gentlemen, is artificial intelligence. My question is, AI in war, does it really work? Number one, and who in the world leads the world? That is question number two. So, sir, good evening, namaskar, and welcome to the show.
Jai Hind, Adi, and good evening, everyone. Always a pleasure to be on your show, Adi. And at the outset, I must say, you're doing this show on AI. You seem to be visionary because at two places in the world, this is happening. One in London, as of now, on Wednesday and Thursday. It's AI Summit, what they call in
Yeah,
Bletchley Park, a famous place where Alan Turing broke the Enigma code, and
Enigma
they are
code.
celebrating kind of that to see how it was done, and it was a great penetration into the secrecy or the way. I mean, it was a kind of artificial intelligence even then. The way Germans had created that code, that typewriters, when they were typing messages, they would go, so many wheels would churn and it would take out some message, and it was pure mathematics, which this guy broke that logic and broke into that. So one, it's happening in London, and second, on your YouTube show, I guess you have
Thank
uh,
you, sir.
almost matched our Prime Minister Sunak. Okay. Having said that, it's an interesting topic because a lot of us, I would say, take it very different way, very casually. Artificial intelligence is just spoken in a different manner. And when we say in wartime, some examples we see where it didn't work or how it should work, or people have expectations from it. So I think it is important to understand how does AI work, what it exactly is meant by artificial intelligence. I mean, what has become so different in this. So before I start, from time to time, I think it is necessary to give a little caveat, Adi, that whatever I speak on your show essentially is open domain. It is just that I have to work hard to get that. So some information to some audience comes as a new, or as a as if it was unknown. Okay. But all of us, military practitioners, what happens is, when you talk of technology, like we talk of air defense, okay, you start talking concepts. Now, they are not that this is how India is going to fight war. These are concepts, time proven, written,
Basics. Hmm.
basics. Everybody follows that. So if I draw an analogy, you have big business houses. You have Reliance, you have Adani's, you have, let's say, Infosys, Microsoft, etc., and they have their executives. Right now, if somebody from, let's say, from this big business house comes and talks about management, that how a good company should run management, so is he really taking out or giving out secrets of how his company is running the business? It's entirely different from that, because books have been written on that. So he's talking common sense. He's just talking that what are the concepts which are kind of same across the world. They are
Hmm.
basics. How you use them, how you employ them, etc., is only what becomes
Two different things. Hmm.
secret. Okay. And I mean, I definitely, for one, at this stage, don't want to go to jail for doing a YouTube show to sort of talk technology to my dear friends, right? So I think your audience, I appreciate that. Some of them might get curious from time to time that what is being talked about. Probably, a retired air marshal is talking. He's getting carried away and talking some secrets. Probably not at all. Okay, they can rest assured. Okay.
Baseline, sir.
Yeah, baseline. Okay. So whatever I say, I mean, it's available in public domain, and some of it, obviously, if not in public domain, is from my. I also put my brain into it. So it may not be in a document, but it is from me, which is of no concern to anyone. Okay. Now, what happens is if you talk of AI, you go back in history there, ARPA, which has now become DARPA, okay, Advanced Research Project Agency. It didn't used to be DARPA before 72. Defense word was
Hmm.
added in 72. So it was much before that when, Sputnik was launched, 57. ARPA had started working on this networking. This TCP came up in 70s, Transmission Control Protocol, that they were worried that because Russia had gone into space, how to run communication after a nuclear attack, because they always thought that Russia will attack, or launch nuclear weapon from space or something. That is why USA got in a jiffy to sort of compete with Russia in space. So this thing had started from that time. It's only later in 83 when internet surfaced, that internet protocol, it just followed. Okay. And the whole thing fell into place. And it's a amazing thing that China did not even invent internet, you know. And today when we talk of AI, etc., everybody feels, and rightly so, that probably China is leading the world as far as artificial intelligence is concerned. So what does it take? It's not purely internet. It is a lot more what it takes to get into AI control. Now, what does artificial intelligence do? Artificial intelligence, to start with, that, if I have to, come from broad area to a narrower area, it processes information faster. There is a lot of information. I will take time to process it. So it does it quickly for me, which leads to quick decision making. Now, where is this information? Where is this information lying, which it is processing very fast? Okay, now, my teacher, what makes me talk? When I talk, or let's say you are intelligent, I'm supposed to be intelligent, people are intelligent. Who's our teacher? Our teacher is experience. That all these
Hmm.
years, that 40 years I was in the Air Force, you were in your business. So when we talk from experience. So experience becomes my teacher. Who's the teacher of AI? AI's teacher is data. Okay. Now, this thing has to be very clearly understood that AI works completely on data. And we are not talking data which is available from Google or internet data. Okay. It's not that you Google some search and feed in data. This is data which comes from sensors, it comes from equipment, it comes from people, it comes from people's behavior. In day to day there is a whole lot of data which is going waste. Very
Hmm.
little of data which is generated is being used. So a lot of data is going waste. So this AI, what it does is, or the people who develop AI, they say that, okay, why not use this data? Now, this huge amount of data, I will tell you the quantum of data that goes into it, not in terabytes or etc., but figuratively. Okay. And all this data needs to be labeled. Okay. Not only just fed, it needs to be labeled. How do you train AI? You train AI exactly the same way, the way you train a child. For example, you want to teach a child that you want him to recognize cat. Okay, small child, how do you do it? You show him a picture of cat, you say this is cat. Then you show a picture of dog, you say this is not cat. Let's say
Hmm.
you're only wanting him to know what is cat, not anything else, right? So you continue showing him pictures. Is this, this is cat, this is not cat, this is cat, this is not cat. Over a period of time, you show him a picture out of these two, three. He will tell you this is cat, this is not cat. Correct? Beginning. Over a period of time, what we'll do, he will build up, his algorithms will grow, he will start learning from environment, etc. Now probably he can see a picture which he has not earlier seen, and from there also tell you that this is not cat. Earlier you were showing him only pictures which he had seen, or the messages or the data which was labeled. So
Hmm.
now what AI does is, when you want to train AI, you label the data. Okay, you say, okay, this is this, this is not, this is aircraft, this is not an aircraft, etc., etc. Okay. And over a period of time, laboriously, painstakingly, you feed in all this information. Okay, for example, F-16. There was a news last time in your channel, in our talk only, somebody asked that they are going to start flying F-16 with AI pilot, artificial intelligence pilot.
Yeah. Yeah.
The question came up. Now what happens is, and it's rightly so, what does it take? This F-16 is not only going to take off and land. There is no point in doing that by unmanned. I mean, what are you going to achieve? Aim is that you are making F-16 fly on AI to overcome human limitations. That means if I have a G limitation, I have some altitude limitation because as a human being, right? So you say if it F-16 wants to be pilotless, if it did not have the limitations of pilot, probably you could stretch its envelope even more. It could sustain higher G, it could go even higher probably, it could go faster, etc., etc. But it has to perform those roles, right? So when I was sitting in the aircraft, okay, or anybody, that pilot, what was he supposed to do? He is supposed to fly a mission. He was supposed to be monitoring his radar. He was supposed to be monitoring an aircraft, find out is this an enemy aircraft, not an enemy aircraft? What are the characteristics of that aircraft? Should I go into vertical fight with this aircraft? Should I go into horizontal fight with this aircraft? What weapon is more suitable for this aircraft, etc., etc.?
At what time?
So that is what he's supposed to do. So what you do is you start teaching this F-16 if it has to fly, or let's call any aircraft on purely AI, you will have to start from, you start teaching it. Okay, this is an aircraft, this is not an aircraft. Okay, this is an aircraft, this is not an aircraft. Okay, I'm saying from the very basics. Now, what happens is over a period of time, it will recognize that, okay, this kind of thing is an aircraft, this is not. Okay. Then you teach him what is the fighter aircraft, what is a transport aircraft, what is a helicopter. Okay. Then you train it to recognize that. Then when it starts recognizing, let's say, fighter aircraft, you need to teach him which fighter aircraft. Is this a Su-30? Is this a J-20? Is this a Rafale? Is this, J-10, J-11? You will have to show it millions of pictures from all angles for it to say that, yeah, this is what aircraft. That moment it sees, it recognizes it. It not only recognizes the aircraft, it recognizes its characteristics. It understands that what kind of maneuverability does it involve, what kind of missile it carries, how close should I get to this aircraft, how close I should not get to this aircraft. So can you imagine the kind of data that has to be fed into this? And artificial intelligence, generally the answers are binary in nature, like it does not give you doubts. For example, I see an aircraft or something, you say in the air, so which kind of aircraft is this? So I said, it could be Boeing, it could be an Airbus, right? From far off, you probably can't make out. I can say it's a civil aircraft, it's not a military aircraft. I can make out difference between IL-76 and probably, a civil aircraft from some distance, but between Airbus and Boeing, it may be difficult to say. But AI enabled system will have to be trained that when it has to decide into one thing, that it is Airbus or it is Boeing. So can you imagine the amount of training you have to give if you want correct answer every time from it? The number of pictures and the number of data you will have to feed in, labeled data. Then what happens is over a period of time, it will develop algorithms, its own develop algorithms that it can become smarter. That some
For
things it
its
can
role.
interpolate. Yeah, that this must be like that. Okay. And what happens is then you have to not only this, and why, I mean, it just came to my mind, AI, why people are, your human minds are also intelligent, you are giving more emphasis on AI now rather than intelligence of human beings, and I used to wonder that why are people more, impressed or gravitating more towards artificial intelligence rather than developing intelligence of human beings. Very little is being done to develop intelligence of human beings. Okay,
It's
and
actually
we are all
going worse.
artificial intelligence. So I think the answer I can give to myself is that one good thing about artificial intelligence is that it does not argue. Okay, it just tells you answer. And now what happens is, whereas a intelligent human being, is likely to argue with you, and I wonder, when you follow this traffic on Google, you say, going from place A to B,
Hmm.
that Google voice command tells you, okay, Miss Catherine or whosoever you have planned, that turn left the next turn. Okay, you miss that turn, you go to the next one. She doesn't get bothered. She replans. She says, okay, turn from the next one. But trying that, missing that turn, if your wife was guiding you that you have to take left next, and you miss that, see what happens in the car, just on the lighter side. Okay. So artificial intelligence, the way it has to be trained is that it gives you alternatives and alternatives and alternatives, at spur of the moment. So the amount of data that has to go into it is not a joke. That is why it takes time to develop real kind of artificial intelligence, not something which just gives you a quick solution, because I'll tell you what are the perils of that. And how do you do this? There are set of rules. Now, after data, you have to define rules. Okay. What kind of rules? Swarm drones, take the case of swarm drones. There are 100 drones flying together. Okay. There are different ways you can maintain distance between the drones. Now, we all know that there is a pilot who flies drone, single drone he flies, right? And now, if there are 100 drones, doesn't mean there are 100 pilots sitting there and flying those drones, right? And
Hmm.
there are autonomous drones also. You launch a swarm, they have a logic. We say, oh, they are artificial intelligence controlled. There is AI controlled drones. They maintain distance, but how do they maintain distance between them? I mean, they are what is intelligence in them? You have what do you call defined set of rules. You say, for example, no drone will come close to each other less than 3 meters is a rule that I write. Okay. Now that rule is being followed by everybody. So anytime a drone finds its distance less than 3 meters, for example, it will adjust with respect to left, right, front, behind. Everybody will adjust to itself so that nobody comes closer than 3 meters. And let's say if this swarm of 100 drones subsequently had to go through a small tunnel or a hole which is not 3 meters, where that swarm cannot go, like maintaining 3 meters distance. You get my point. Let's say this much frontage is coming and it has to go through something very small now. Okay. So you'll have to define another set of rules that when this broad area, you will maintain 3 meters as long as broad frontage is available like that. But in case, distances become smaller,
Issues are
then
there.
it from
Hmm.
this frontage, you will get to this frontage. Your distance from, horizontal must become more vertical. So that formation from this one will become this one. But the set of rule has to be written. And if that set of rule is not written correctly, you will find the crashes will happen. Drones will go into each other. They will keep rotating around there only. They will not know how to behave. So we say that your AI has failed. AI has not failed. It is your, algorithm which has failed.
Hmm.
Mathematics, which is involved in this, Adi, is 17th century mathematics. Mathematics is not the problem. It is the algorithm that you write. There are, now I'm not getting into technicalities and I'm not really an engineer, that there are supervised algorithms, unsupervised algorithms, etc., etc. Okay, but the point is that those algorithms set of rules have to be written, and if you don't write those sets of rules correctly, then it is likely to fail you. For
It'll
example,
get
again,
confused. Hmm.
you can fool it then. Okay, exactly. Take the case of old time. It is stopped now. Cars came with anti-theft system, and you said if a thief comes and it touches your car, it will start going,
Boom,
horns will,
boom,
that those sirens will start blaring. Yes. Now, what did it do? Algorithms are not written properly. Even if a dog touched it, it started blaring. Sometimes I remember restaurant, somebody will come, somebody's car outside is blaring, please go and reset the alarm, because some dog touched it, some cat touched it. It was not always a human being, because the set of rules was very, very rudimentary. They did not differentiate between that if a man wants to, do a theft in the car, where is he likely to touch? What kind of a touch should it be? Etc., etc. So that would have required very advanced algorithm, and then you would say that car is, it's got some kind of AI. Did you hear about a news item where a guy fooled the traffic system, Google Traffic, by putting some 90 mobiles
ah,
in a
ha, ha, ha. Yeah,
in a
yeah, in a
chakra,
small
right?
cart. Yes, yes,
Small car.
yes.
And what did he do? Now, how are you shown traffic on the road when that line goes red?
Mobile
What
phone
they do
signal.
is, what these companies do, no, they have programmed it in a way that they calculate the number of mobiles. They assume that every car, every man on the road is carrying mobile. Correct? So they calculate that to a tower, to a signal, what is the rate of mobiles passing, let's say, per minute. Take any figure, 100. Okay. If I say if per minute more than 100 mobiles pass this tower, then the traffic is normal. So it will show you that blue line or green line, whatever it is. If the number of mobiles passing through that tower becomes 50, that line will turn to yellow. If the number of mobiles passing through that tower becomes 10 or 5 per minute, that line will turn red. That is a simple logic. Okay. While writing this set of rules, okay, what they did not write, that you cannot have 90 mobiles in 1 square meter area. At the most, you will have car which can have only 5 mobiles, or at the most six if someone is carrying two. Okay, so which is 2 by 2 meter at least. Okay, 4 square meter. So if I was to write the logic that if any time you get a signal where you get more than 2 mobiles per square meter, reject that. It is not to be. And then you will find that you can put any number of mobiles in that chakra, you cannot fool the system. So set of rules written for that particular thing. This is my theory, mind you. It is not given anywhere. I mean, I have, by thinking, I have evolved it, which sounds reasonable to me. So that you could not have fooled the system if that system knew that you cannot have 90 mobiles. I mean, 90 people can't be in 1 meter by 1 meter square area. Not possible. So it is not normal traffic. It is somebody trying to, fool the system, right? So this is the kind of data or kind of things that go into AI. Idea was to give you the broad, because we have to talk of warfare
Hmm.
also.
Hmm.
Okay?
Hmm.
And we
Hmm.
can talk about it later if any question comes. Okay, now when it comes to warfare, how is it going to help? Now people are taking due care. USA, for example, Department of Defense has a Lima task force, which is purely looking at AI in warfare. And normal newspapers, I mean, we keep reading that, President Biden is concerned that, what should be AI and how should it go, ethics, etc., etc. Okay. In China also, there is, the AI in warfare is a full-fledged study or, document or this thing where they've identified that where all can they use it and where are they going to get stumbling block. Mota mota, if we talk, okay, where all AI can be used when it comes to warfare. I will talk something in general and then I'll give you some specifics. Okay. Human AI is supposed to recognize human language as well as machine language. So human machine interface is what needs, in this AI, what they are working on and which it can help. That means every time I don't have to type the message for it to understand me. It should be able to understand my voice command. It should be able to understand when I do the machine language also. Okay.
Hmm.
Now
Hmm.
decision making. Okay, quick decision making, when we say that you process the information and give me quick decision, but still we say fail. We talk of air defense systems failing, in Israel, or certain other AI solutions or certain decision failing. Now see, again what happens is AI, in my opinion, is supposed to supplement human intelligence, not replace human intelligence.
Correct.
If I give up totally and say that every work will be done by AI only, then I'm likely to be taken for a ride. Okay. For example, now there'll be a lot of examples, I think, in this talk. Okay. For example, let's say you go to a market or to a vendor, you wanting to buy certain things. He
Hmm.
tells you this is 283 rupees per piece and you want 193 pieces. Okay. So when I say, okay, give me 193 pieces of 283, it is difficult for me to calculate what does it amount to. But by the time he's telling me from his calculator that how much it is cost, what has my mind done? If I'm a live guy, I have done two things quickly in my mind, that 300 into 200 is roughly 60,000 and last two digits were three. So last digit should be nine. So if his answer to me is somewhere close to 60,000, little below it, and the last digit is nine, I would presume that, yeah, this must be okay. But now, if I don't do even this basic thing, and I have not trained myself along with this computer to even
Then
think basics, then he tells me, some ridiculous figure, some 93,000 rupees, 224. I will say, okay, I have not done the basics in my mind. A very rudimentary example, just to, I mean, you can increase the dimension of it now. So tomorrow, when I'm in warfare, certain things, certain decisions are being told to me. Now, if I'm totally dummy, sitting there and only relying on AI network or something to tell me and say that, okay, I will do only what I'm being told. So then probably there is a chance. Now, it's not that everything you can do. The data that we are talking here is now phenomenal. I'll give you an example in a small presentation which will come up soon. But this is just to that at least basics can be done right. Something when you're training your AI, firstly, your data integrity has to be very, very good. that it does not make a mistake. And secondly, you yourself have to stay somewhat abreast of it, that for a very small thing, it should not be able to make a mistake. Like navigation, we used to do. Take the case of inertial navigation. You go from place A to place B, the inertial navigation is taking you. But if you were sleeping completely, you're not even referring to map, you're not even keeping your head alive, you're not even monitoring your bearings and distances from various, fields, etc., etc., then obviously you'll be taken for a ride one day. If that system starts misbehaving, you got to identify, in spite of all the, redundancies, etc., etc., etc. What I'm saying is, it may not be always possible, but if you keep yourself abreast of it, we were just talking of decision making. Okay. So it can probably serve you better. Wherever it's possible, it must be done. Logistics is another thing. It always gets underplayed, but World War II has shown that logistics at times, Battle of Al Alamein or whatever you talk, they have won the battles. And now what can AI do? The kind of inventory any air force or army or navy has in a country is not even funny. Whatever you may do, you are almost doing everything now. Let's say, everything is computerized, every base is keeping a track of it. And now if you develop advanced algorithms, that it not only tells you what item is lying where, it also tells you the shortest path. Let's say I'm sitting at a place, and I am short of, I want to assemble a few bombs. Okay. And those bombs need some aggregates. Okay. I'm short of 4 5 for some reason. Okay. I want to quickly know how can I get it. Okay. Manual work will be, I write to command headquarters, he writes to air headquarters issue signal to everybody, and somebody says I have got this. By the time they come, it will be a month. Okay. So now what happens is, you got computerized, it will tell you which all bases have got this. Fair enough. But what will AI do? AI will not only tell you which all bases have got this, it will also tell you the shortest path,
How
by way
to
of
how to
how
do
to get
stuff.
across. I mean, what
Hmm.
kind of connectivity exists? So a place may be much closer to me, but another place is connected by air. This place is not connected by air. An item may come in 2 hours from there, and it may take 20 hours to come from a closer place, right? So all these things, AI logistics, it can help you. Space AI is being used not so much for warfare, but for fault analysis. How a satellite is supposed to behave, how is it behaving, how should it happen. So AI, ultimately will get in there. Training is one very important aspect. How do we train? Simulators, we have all heard. Okay. Now,
Correct.
is if the simulators become, have got an element of in artificial intelligence, it will develop algorithm, and it starts talking to the environment everywhere. It will start upgrading that, how are the other aircraft behaving, what are the new things happening in,
Hmm.
warfare, what kind of exercises were flown, what lessons came out of that exercise. And it starts giving you that kind of exercises, it starts giving you that kind of a training curriculum. Let's say we conducted an exercise with the USA. Okay. So certain lessons came out. If now this AI controlled simulators were to be available, they will pick up all those data points from there and remodify the programs, that how people should be uh, trained, right?
Trained.
And then is, last two things are intelligence. Okay, how to use AI in intelligence, and then cognitive domain. These two things we will talk a little in detail. Now, how in intelligence, now what happens is, when you have to interpret images, let's say image intelligence is one very important part. There is human intelligence, there is signal intelligence, whole lot of things. Okay. But human intelligence is like human to human, it tells you something. Okay. Image intelligence is something, satellites are taking out data by loads and loads. Now I need to monitor everything, that what is happening in my area of interest. Okay. Now let's say some airfields I have to monitor. So how do I do? You are my boss, or you say I want to know moment some change happens in some place. So what am I supposed to do? Get one map, go through it, then get another map, go through it, and I find nothing is happening here for days together. Next map comes, I may keep it aside. Okay, yeah, nothing much has happened. Cry wolf situation. Okay, humanly. So I say nothing much has happened for last 2 3 days. Nothing may happen now. Okay, so you get it. By in psychological domain, it is confirmation bias. That you
Ji.
want to believe something, you think it must be like this only, because you're not wanting any trouble, so you think there is no trouble. Okay, so this is where AI is dispassionate. AI has no, such biases. AI will make sure that it calls a spade and it will tell you immediately. Okay,
All the
and
checks
now,
and balances are done.
yeah, okay, that what checks and balances are done. Okay, now if you kindly run that little presentation for me, uh,
Absolutely.
I will just show you that how this particular thing runs. Okay, now we are talking of artificial intelligence in intelligence operations. I will cover it deliberately. And again, now let me tell you, a lot of I have put in a lot of work on this. I mean, not to tell you that, but it may appear that as if this information, this whole thing has been stolen from somewhere. It has been put together one by one, making sure that nothing together gives any kind of thing, but at the same time it will very in a crystal clear manner probably tell our audience that how AI can help in image intelligence, which is humanly impossible to do. Okay, so I have taken an example. Okay, this is okay. Next view file, please. Okay, this is a base. Okay, I hope people can see. They should be able to see it now. Whatever it
Yes, sir.
is. Okay, this is a base in China. I've taken because we keep talking of China, and it is our area of interest. I mean, there is no shying away from that. And these are now. This picture is Google image. There is a address little below. Can you see, Adi?
Yes, sir.
Just for audience, this is a image address. So if you Google it, if you Google, image of a China military base, there a lot of like images like this will come up. Okay, so they are available for use because they're old. They are of no relevance today. It may not be like this. Okay, but this is illustrative. Like I want to explain it to audience that how does this work. Now this is an airfield you want me to monitor. Okay, like we talked. Okay, that see, I want to know activity at this base. I understand some fighters may move in here, some fighters may move out of this place because this is my area of interest. So what do we do every day morning whenever satellite pass happens? I take out a picture, I go through lens, I zoom it, I do this, I do that, see everywhere. I say, oh, nothing has changed. Next again. So every round the clock, it will be monotonous. Now, I by no means I'm saying only I am doing this. I mean, there will be people doing it, but
Yeah.
everybody in the clock will get fed up of this because this is not the only thing you're doing, right? Okay. And now you come to the next one. Now, it is not that only one airfield you have to monitor. Now, you recognize this area clearly. Most of it, you have talked on it, correct? This Taiwan. And 12 air bases I am supposed to monitor in this area. All these dots. Okay. So now you can imagine that what kind of effort do I need to monitor these 12 air bases, that what exactly is happening there, right? Now, now I have got this AI system. Okay, we don't name any AI system. I mean, I've just I know how it works, how various things are. So there is a system with me which is AI enabled. So now it is monitoring. Now I am not monitoring, that AI system is monitoring. Next slide, please. So one day it shows me this red. Okay, moment I see this red, I said, oh shit. Till this is sorry for my language. This is when everything is happening and nothing is being shown. I know everywhere it is normal. Now I'm trying to move mouse. Probably people may not see, but this red one it comes. I say, oh, this is where the problem is.
Trouble.
So next,
Hmm.
please. So when I zoom in, I find, oh, this is Zangshu Air Base. You know what it is showing? Where the uh, problem is.
Issue is there.
Okay. Hmm?
Where the
Sorry,
issues happen.
circled it. Yeah, Zangshu. And I say that, okay, this is the base of interest. Something has happened here. Okay. And now I want to know what has happened here. Next one, please. So my dashboard tells me. What does it tell me here? You see this little meter here circle. There is a green zone in between, top 12 o'clock. And there are yellow on, 10 o'clock and 1 o'clock, that position. And red on 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock position. With me?
Please, sir.
Yes. Okay. Now, because you are my only audience now, so I need confirmation from you. So this green sector is which says normal activity. Okay. So if normal activity is green, little variation is yellow, little more variation is red. So what does it tell me? My needle has gone red to the right. That means something additional has come up at this space. If something had flown out, this needle would have gone to the left into the red. Means some people have gone out of the space. So now this
Which wo-
tells me needle has gone to the red, to the right, means some additional activity is happening at this space. I said, okay, let me see. What is this additional activity? Next one, please. Okay, now you see on the same circle on the top right, and there is a little graph on the left, maybe faint to people. You see this graph on the left, which is showing a spike upwards. Can you see, Adi?
mm, mm.
Okay, that spike upwards has got
There's
different.
there's
Uh,
green, there's red, and there's yellow.
there is yellow. Okay, now each one has got a legend. What is that yellow? Legend. Okay, three types have gone up. There is J10, J11, and J20. That thing is that there are three types of aircraft which have increased in number, okay, on this base, because that baseline from January onwards was coming straight, and in August suddenly it has gone up, okay, and that legend tells you that which are the aircraft which have gone up. Next one, please. And now I
Now,
see that 15 aircraft have got added. And which are these 15 aircraft? It tells me there are 4 J20s, okay, there are 6 J11s, and there are 5 J10s. Now you see, how is my system recognizing this? The amount of data which must have gone into recognize this, aircraft standing on ground is not even funny,
funny.
because it can
Mm.
see aircraft from any angle. These aircraft may not have been parked like that. It could be left, right, up, down, etc., right? So it recognizes and it tells me. So click of a button, I say, okay, 15, J15's additional has come, and it's showing me 3 dots on the field, correct? Means some changes have taken place at these places. Okay. Next one, please. And it tells me there are 12 helicopters also which have got added. Okay. You see the
Wow.
same two spikes. Okay. So what does it tell me? Which are the 12 helicopters which have got added? It says there are 8 Z10s and 4 Z9s. Okay, it recognizes the type also. Okay, next one, please. Okay, so and it says there are another 8 helicopters at a different place, out of which there are 4 Z20s and 4 Z8s. So we saw that total, 15 plus 12, 27 and 8, 35 is the number which you showed, which you see on the total assets in the middle written 35. I did not initially say 35, but now you can correlate 15 fighters, 12 one type of aircraft at helicopters at one place, and 8 at another place. So 15 plus 12, 27 plus 8, 35 is addition, which is I need to worry about. That so many aircraft have come into this base. So I keep monitoring this base now. Okay, that what is happening. Now, once I have recognized this, etc., and these aircraft stay there for 2-3 days, you will find that this particular thing will, could have become normalized. But when it does not, it monitors it. Next one, please. Next one. Now it's okay. Hold on, please. Now you see the same graph on the left, on left of that
It's
35.
dipping down.
It's dipping down. Correct, which shows me, and if you see what has happened to the circle, that red needle has gone a little upwards and the number has become 28. Do you see 28 written there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it shows that okay, 7 aircraft have gone somewhere. Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, so now it will tell you what all has gone missing. It tells you 2 J20s are there now, -2 from the earlier 4. There are 2 J11s now, -4 from the earlier 4, 6. And there are 4 J10s now, -1 from the earlier 5. So total
Mm.
-7 aircraft have gone. So it has come to 28. Okay, I took some time in explaining it, but if you are sitting on dashboard, this information is available to you in 30 seconds flat.
My God.
And can you even imagine how much time it would take, firstly, to detect this, to know that something like this has happened? Okay, this is what AI can do in warfare. If this kind of information is available to me on dashboard, it's a game changer completely.
Yeah, yeah.
This is what AI in warfare is. I mean, not just doing small things, etc. So you understand the quantum of it. I mean, what is the scale that we are talking of when we talk of AI in warfare? And
Wow.
incidentally, this is just one example of it. Okay, I think we are done with the slides, or is there anything else?
No, sir, there isn't anymore.
Okay, okay. So this is, you got the idea that how this works. Okay, and now what happens is, now when we come to another dimension which is very dangerous and which is China is ahead, and that is where people are talking of ethical AI. Now earlier, I mean, April, there was, I believe, our IT minister. I mean, it's in papers. He said that generally we are not yet talking of ethical AI because it's helping in innovation. We are still developing. But short of G20, I mean, Prime Minister himself went on record to say that we need AI expansion with ethics, because
Needs to happen.
everybody realizes that there is a problem. And what is cognitive warfare? A little bit we have spoken earlier on your show, but cognitive warfare is not disinformation. Most of people think fake news is AI warfare. Disinformation, you fellow, it works for a while. We somebody will come out with this is fake. Yes, you can influence people's mind. I mean, trouble does take place with fake information, and especially if I use fake information for my use, then enemy will use it anyway. It will happen in anywhere, right? So some news channel laga lo, some kuch kar lo. I mean, something, if that they indulge in that kind of thing, then but it's called out, within no time. You would understand, you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
prolong it. Yeah? But what cannot be called out is if I study you. So it's not just fake information. I watch you. Let's say I want to change your behavior. Then someone is profiling me. Someone is profiling me. What are my
Ah,
likes? What are my dislikes? What is my belief system? What is my, what are my inclinations? How
mm,
do I,
mm.
who are the people I follow on Twitter? Who are the people I never see? Whose comments I like, who do I like more, who do I ignore. All this is seen, so it shows my behavior pattern. Again, hell of a lot of data points. Okay, and now tomorrow, let's say, yeah, they want to use a person X or anyone to their advantage, or a set of people to their advantage. Then they have a module ready,
Ready. Mm.
influence your decision that, okay, this is not the way I will do. Okay, or this is not the way I will behave, which will be detrimental to your side. In if someone wants to profile me, I'm just saying cognitive warfare is that, they I have my children somewhere, etc. They monitor that, what kind of, is there a trouble taking place, is there some problem, is there some this thing. So nick of the time, let's say some information innocuously starts flowing on my mobile somewhere, that this is what is happening, this is
There's an
trouble
issue.
is
This.
happening,
Mm,
etc.,
mm.
etc. So it will start manipulating your behavior. This is what is dangerous. So this is what people need to work against, or educate against, that you are not to fall for that. Okay, and now what are the problems in AI? Yet it is yet not developed, fully, I mean, to full use. Okay, there are three basic problems in full module developments of this. First will remain inadequate data on especially enemy. I mean, you have your own data, but when I have to develop a successful AI module, I need a lot of data on enemy. For example, I just showed you that image intelligence wala. Now, how do I define normal behavior? That means I need those data inputs, continuously, for me to realize, to achieve
Create a
a positive
pattern.
action.
Yeah,
That is not.
whole lot of things. Mm.
Okay, whole lot of things will be required. Aircraft, I just showed in a simplistic way. You will need to monitor how many number of people are there on that base. You would be surprised that before these aircraft would have arrived, these 35 aircraft, who's going to maintain them, who's going to look after them? Whole lot of new people would have arrived on that base first,
Obviously, sir. Mm.
from somewhere, from those
Yes.
detachment. So they would even monitor that. So before the aircraft arrive, if it depends how developed your AI algorithm is. That how much are you ready to invest in your AI algorithm? So not only that red dot will tell me that aircraft have arrived. There could be a pre-red dot, a pink dot, to tell me they're likely to arrive, because we find 500 people have got added in the space,
Wow.
from so many places. So I need to monitor that more closely. That okay, something like that is likely to happen there. Okay, so this is, there is no like end to this kind of thing. But again and again, I would say data is the issue. So inadequate data. That is why you do, people do exercises with the foreign air forces. We generally learn tactics. We say, okay, this is how he flew, this is how he flew. But smart guys will be collecting data, that how these guys
How
brief,
things
how these
happen.
guys
Mm.
debrief, how this guy, what are these guys sensitive to, what these guys think is serious, what these guys think is not very serious. Okay, all these data points are being gathered. There are no free lunches in this world. When people spend money and call guys for doing various things. So you got to be conscious. What I'm saying is, when I go and exercise with foreign countries and things like that, you by all means you learn. You have to be aggressive, but you got to be always conscious of the point that there lot of data must be continuously collected. I mean, this is, everybody does it. Okay, this is how you survive. And then optimization of data. That means it has to be correctly labeled. Just collecting whole lot of data has got no value. I collect 1,000 pictures of human beings. If I don't say who's who, it has got no meaning, right? So that labeling of that data is also
Most
hugely
important.
important. Last will be the trust issues, which will remain for a long time to come, in my opinion. When AI tells you something which is against your grain, which, like I said, you're also thinking, you think it should be like this, and it tells you entirely different thing. You will not trust it, but you will trust it if you think you have trained it correctly. For example, you hire a driver, you watch him for some time. How does he drive? Or let's say you don't get a trained driver. Let me paraphrase my example. You hire a normal human being. You say, okay, I will train you to be my driver. Now you start training him. Now, how well you have trained him will determine whether you can go to sleep in the back seat of car, or you will have to be on the watch continuously, right? It directly depends on how you trained him. So when I was chief instructor flying in, Air Force Academy, and you launch a person on solo flight, how do you give him an aircraft? You sign a $1 million aircraft and you say, okay, guy, go solo. 20-year-old guy, and you've just taught him over the past 15, 20 days or a month maybe, and you give him an aircraft and go based on what? On your training, trust in your training. So I said, okay, I trust my training, so I can trust that he will go and come back safely. So similarly, the AI system, trust issues will remain as long as your training is not up to the mark. The moment you are able to train your AI to the point that you are very confident that you have trained it well, probably the trust issue will also come. Okay, I think I will stop, and I had promised myself that I will finish this quickly. But I think the way it goes, I have to take some lessons on summarizing my talk.
Nay, nay, sir. I mean, trust you me. I had a ball listening to this
Yeah,
because the you've basically done one thing. You've bursted the bubble and broken the narrative and thrown it out the window and lit it on fire and put it put it out and then put some petrol and lit it on fire again. I mean, it's that because why am
no,
I mean, on a very lighter note, see, why am I saying this is because what you've done is basically help us understand the whole narrative of oh ab to AI aa gaya ab to boss, and the Chinese would love this, that they show these little dogs running around with a little gun on the top. uh, the whole lot of propaganda that has been spread across with regards to AI, ki that is the key. If you don't have that, you are done. Your army will never be able to fight. Your military will never be able to win. That's the layman's perspective today on the ground. And you've brought that thing out that, listen, okay, fair enough, it does help. But this thing, and to me, sir, I mean, I'm just now, I love geopolitics, so I'll talk geopolitically.
please.
Looking at the way the chips are developing, uh, we've got the 10 nanometer and below, which are the high end chips. with this whole China US this thing, and the chip manufacturing is like a link. It's a chain link.
Yeah.
Everybody manufactures some part of that chip manufacturing machine. Now with this whole kachra happening, there's one link that is going to be broken, and that when that link breaks, sadly speaking, but AI will be get pushed back by at least 1 or 2 decades. So
Yeah,
I don't
totally.
know where are we heading, but
See, yeah, till whatever it is developed, we need to be careful. My idea was, since people invest their time listening to us on channel, to give a little operational again. Like I would say, it is by no means it was a technical or telling people how to develop algorithm, because it's not possible for anyone to know. I mean, you have to be really invested. People do doctorates and etc. etc. They've invested
yeah,
their
yeah,
time, and they will know much more. We are operational people, we are day to day people. So with a little bit of augmentation of operational knowledge, we I just try to put it in perspective, that what does it take to have a good AI system. Yeah.
absolutely, sir. This is amazing, and I think the next subject is already come from one of our audience with regards quantum computing.
Yes, that's
Mhm.
very interesting again.
Yeah,
And
so that's somebody who's requesting ki Adi yaar, you've promised that you will be doing the show, so please don't break your promise.
uh,
So let's get into some sawal jawab. Interesting. I mean, I am really blown, sir, with the information that you've given is fantastic. Thank
yeah,
you so much for that. Let's get into some questions and answers. And guys, most importantly, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you've not subscribed, and spread it to your friends. Tell people this is the kind of discussions that we have on Dev Talk so that they also get interested and join up. Uh, let's get into the questions. Chandra Balaji, thank you so much for becoming a member. Sanjay Tarat, I'll just take a minute and announce the people that have become member. There are quite a few today. Thank you so much, Mr. Sanjay. Thank you so much, Mr. Sandeep. Thank you so much, Sampatji, for becoming a member. Sudhiranji, thank you so much for becoming a member. Vineet, thank you so much for becoming a member. All right, that's what it is. Nice of all of you actually just to join up at the same time. Arin, thank you so much for your contribution. He says, as info security professional, we don't even talk about strategies and tactics in public. It's always principles and channels. Like public analytical channels are always a nightmare to us. Okay, thanks for the heads up. So yeah, it's a hush hush industry, sir. People don't like to talk about this, what's happening and how it is happening and who's doing what in terms of AI. I
see,
think it.
again, what I mean, they I'm sure this you must have said it in a vein, because
Yeah,
there
yeah,
is, yeah,
light away.
nothing. One can. It takes much more than talk to develop a communication or an AI system. I'm sure they. I think he complimented you, as I take it
No,
anyhow.
no, he's a very regular on the show, sir. So it's a very lighter comment. But what he's saying is that it is the way it has been put across, and the way that the information, again, as I was saying, it's the information that is there to the general public is, bhai AI aa gaya to Terminator robot banega.
Yeah,
Uske baad some guy will have to come and shoot them all down, otherwise the entire human civilization is dead. So that's the perception about AI. uh, but we are far away from actually, and I don't know, sir, if you would agree with me, we are far away from actually just developing AI which is as good as a 3-month-old baby.
absolutely.
Forget a 3-4 year old child. I mean, I'm talking
So,
3-month-old baby who can open its eyes and recognize his mother, no matter
yeah,
what dress,
yeah,
what hairdo, what paint she's got on her face. That
yeah.
child will recognize her.
Well, he's slowly building up its
Huh,
own
data
algorithms.
sets.
This is exactly the way it works.
So it's
Absolutely.
not even there yet. Forget
Yeah.
anything else. And that's my opinion, sir. Any comment on that? I don't know if you agree with me or not.
See, what happens is, why it's causing concern is, like, because the wrong guys pick it up faster than the right guys. Like for information, they say, when you talk of lie and truth, somebody said that a lie can go around halfway around the world by the time truth is tying its shoelaces.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so this is why this is problematic. Why people are worried? Not that it has got so much advanced. They are worried that as much it has got advanced, that is dangerous if it falls in wrong hands. Because unethical things go way out. We pride ourselves on UPI. Okay, and we have done wonderful stuff. I mean, are you getting disturbance or something? Can you hear
नहीं
me?
suddenly आया था sir. I fixed it.
Okay. So what I'm saying is, you take the UPI. It would have been what a lovely thing to develop. Okay, but into the wrong hands, you start having frauds. You start having people getting frauded, people losing money, etc. Such a beautiful thing is turned into a nightmare because it falls into wrong hands. So it is not yet, AI for good of the human being is what is being talked about. Like drones, for example, the way they came. Forget about drone in warfare. See the amount of civil work they can do. Yeah, taking medicines, taking this, taking that. Reaching difficult areas, but into the wrong hands, there is a problem. So similarly, this AI has a huge potential. Still way to go, but जितना भी डेवलप हो गया है ना उतना भी गलत हाथों में गया तो it can create problem. That is why people are
Lots.
when they talk on that issue, so one gets a feeling कि बहुत lot has been done developed so that we need to start worrying from the other side, but that even little bit is bad enough. But we were talking of AI in warfare. I mean, for the real things to a lot of hard work is required to do the right thing, and continuous hard work, because data is changing continuously.
Amazing answer, sir. JBJP has a funny question. Thank you so much. Firstly, he says, Bedi ji, aaj CM Punjab Bhagwant Mann had a historic debate on SYL with four empty chairs and names for 2 hours. It was NI, natural intelligence. Do we really need AI?
I don't know. I used to enjoy his shows. I still like listening to his old videos. So what he does as chief minister, I will reserve my comments. But I liked him as as a performer. I would say what his main job was. So if he puts his energy in the right place, probably will do good. But yeah, okay. Uh,
Interesting question.
yeah.
uh, Anush ji, thank you so much for your contribution. The student who studies aerospace technology in foreign countries want to serve our nation. Is there any direct entry to DRDO? You seem
Oh,
to be
I
in Canada.
suppose direct entry to DRDO means in what way? There are people can join DRDO. I mean, the scientists say there is a way to join any organization. It's a government kind of, not exactly government organization. I mean, government has a major stake in it. Okay, but there should not be any problem. The students who studies aerospace technology in foreign countries. Okay, foreigners see what he means. Not the or does he say Indian students? No,
No, Indian
students who
students.
study
Indian students,
foreigners,
sir.
right?
Indian
Does he say Indian
students.
students?
He
The
doesn't, but
students who study aerospace
the
technology in
hint
foreign
is that
countries.
want to
I
serve
I
our
don't
nation.
see for Indian students there is no problem. I read it like that the students who studies aerospace technology in foreign countries want to serve our nation. Is
Our
there any
nation.
direct?
It's
Huh.
Indian students.
Okay. So I don't think there is any problem. I mean, this I can't give a direct answer, but there must be a way to join DRDO that must be explored, and it must be there on the net.
Siddhartha, thank you so much for your contribution. He says, will high altitude service surveillance and
Yes, yes.
SAR surveillance will be a good option? Data can feed into MIL AI platforms as part of a bigger sensor-driven data acquisition. Are U2 and RQ4 good options as platforms for India? That's a
Oh, yes.
damn technical question, brother.
And you see, SAR is synthetic aperture radar. Okay, what
Aperture
happens
radar.
is this is being done. High altitude SAR means there are satellites with SAR. Okay, we are talking of drones SAR. Drones and satellites complement each other because when he says high altitude, I don't know whether he means space, because altitude, generally high altitude is not referred to space assets, it's referred to aircraft or drones, hail, when we say high altitude long endurance, right? So SAR surveillance can be fed into ML. That is exactly what is being done. You see, what happens is when synthetic aperture radar takes a picture, next time probably as a byproduct, I think when we did the satellite show, it must be a picture in that I showed how electro-optical picture looks like, how synthetic aperture radar picture looks like. See, SAR can see things which EO cannot see. Like, EO cannot see at night. SAR can see day, night, bad weather, etc. Nothing stops, provided you have the right kind of frequency. Okay.
Frequency.
So it can see hidden things. It can see embedded stuff. Okay. But what happens is you won't be able to recognize in situ unless you have a correlation. Means you have to have an electro-optical picture, which, let's say, you're not able to make out ke ye kya hai, and then you have an SAR picture also, or you take a SAR picture, you superimpose your picture. All this is ML, but MIL, I think it was M stroke L, must be machine learning. I don't know what is otherwise meant by MIL. Okay. But when you put all this data into that, that is how the system or information processing is being generated. RQ4, I mean, Reapers, etc., are good option, because, like we said, when we did surveillance thing, I made a point there that we lack sustained surveillance, continuous surveillance. Satellites have their limitations. We don't have so many of our satellites yet in space. You have to buy data from outside, and everything is very expensive. Now, what I showed you, that whole gimmick, I mean, not gimmick, I mean, that whole exercise, theoretically it's possible by laws of physics, but it will cost you a bomb, in the sense that if you have to do that kind of thing for every available piece, will cost a lot of money. So you have to develop your own assets, to do that. You can't do it on borrowed technology or borrowed stuff. That is where, we, when it comes that how much we need to work a lot in this. So we have got those assets, RQ4. They should be good option. I'm sure they will throw in a lot of data. Navy is already using them, on four of them. So it is a very considered decision that we took, that we must have those machines.
Interesting. 12 para commandos. Thank you so much. Sir Jai Hind, I am studying AI for the last 6 months, but the knowledge sir has given literally blown my mind. Thank you so much. Hats off.
No, thank you so much. No, we need to learn from him. I wish he can say a few things, because I have not studied AI so dedicatedly as he is doing, but I just, I mean, focused on it a little bit to know
Deepak
things.
Joshi ji, thank you for becoming a member. Arin, thank you so much once again. He says, sir, you already touched on it. Isn't behavioral analysis always been the main goal of joint exercise in guise of tactics and strategy?
Well, I wouldn't say so in open way, but it's a byproduct. Whenever we do exercises, it is essentially to learn tactics, to know how other air forces operate, etc. But as an offshoot, uh, I'm sure people must be collecting data, that how air forces behave, what is their temperament, how offensive they are, how defensive they are, etc., etc. This is how profiling of people goes all the way. Whether that is the main strategic tactics and strategy is debatable. Main aim must be to learn tactics exactly, but you can't ignore these aspects as well.
Hmm. Cannot. Dipankar says, please give your opinion on alleged UFO or UAP sightings that are being discussed in the US these
Yeah,
days.
I think last
Is
time
this
we discussed this.
high level of what probably he's hinting at? Is this high level of automation or high level of artificial intelligence being tested? Because we know that DARPA, as per se, and there's this author, this lady, she's I'll her name will come to me. She talks about the factor that DARPA thinks about 25 years ahead technology and stuff like that. And they, if that is what the case is, wouldn't this be the right time to start for them to start testing such systems? Annie, her name is Annie. I forget. I mean, it'll
Mhm.
come to me.
But I think this is this is being discussed. I mean, we I think we talked in detail about it, that trial which went through where people testified. Some people, they said we reported, they were ignored, etc., etc. They are saying, some people even went to say that some people have been captured. They are, there a whole lot of no conspiracy theories. I wouldn't like to, comment too passionately on it. Firstly, I mean, because it is not very clear who's saying what.
Yeah. Annie Jacobson is the author. Just struck
Okay.
me. She's written books on the CIA and stuff like that.
Uh,
She's written books on these covert operations with regards to UFOs and this and that. When they actually when this stuff came out, and the pressure built up on the Congress, and then they had to kind of declassify some stuff. So
mhm.
okay, so
Yeah.
that's interesting.
They,
Akshay
they
asked.
said that it's been going on for very long, and like you rightly said, that when a lot of people started talking of it, then somewhere thing came up. But there is no clear cut, Adi. I mean, the government
It's
statement for
Yeah,
me
it's
to.
difficult. It's difficult. Very difficult, sir. No question about it. Akshay asks, sir, Su-57 is said to have an AI autopilot. It can take over in blackout condition. I don't know if it's just prototype or real.
No, no, no. See, what happens is AI-enabled autopilot. Autopilot is not there again. Like we say, set of rules, or what does autopilot do? It is got defined conditions. Most of the aircraft have autopilots. You set certain conditions and it flies, and that it maintains those conditions. Okay. If you have the like for example, I set, like I've flown Mirage 2000. Let me tell you autopilot of Mirage 2000. So I set at a particular altitude. I want to go at 15,000 feet throughout, let's say. Okay. And I put it on autopilot. Now, if there
Hmm.
is a gust comes, let's say it gains 10 feet, autopilot will bring it down. If it loses some height, it will bring it up. Okay. It will maintain that particular direction throughout continuously. Those set of conditions it will continue to make. Blackout conditions, what he says is you have to give that authority to the, like suppose I am doing very close combat or something, even a MiG-21 essential, incidentally had a button, autopilot button. Let me explain. Let's say I turn very hard at something, I have blacked out, and aircraft is in going to go out of control, and if I press that button from whichever attitude, it leveled out the aircraft. It pulled,
Oh,
provided there was enough height available. If it was ulta, it will become straight. If it was like this, the shorter way, let's say I put it like this, it'll, let's say from the right bank I put it like this, it's not that it will come back the same way, it will come back the shorter way. Okay. And it will, from the dive, from bank, from anywhere, it will get you to
level
straight and
out.
level. So
Hmm.
every air, and this is MiG-21 we are talking of, which uh, recently we must have heard in the news have been now phased out. Okay, I mean we have said goodbye to them. But the thing is that advanced aircraft have different types of autopilot. Blackout condition is these days, these aircraft are so configured that they don't go beyond those limitations. Blackouts used to happen when people pulled more G than was required or you could tolerate. Those kind of medicals were not available, things like that. Now there are anti-G suits. There is high class flying clothing available. They don't let you reach those conditions, and the aircraft have got flying authorities, fly-by-wire systems, which don't allow you to exceed those limits. Okay. Autopilot aircraft will have, and blackout conditions to come out of it is not a big deal. I mean, it doesn't really need AI kind of solution.
Hmm. That's kind of
It's a standard
that,
autopilot all aircraft have.
sir. SN says, can AI predict the enemy's future attack pattern based on surveillance data and the advance of enemy's mobilization? Could Israel preempt glider attacks or water pipe missile attacks?
See, again, like it's purely question of training. How you have trained, it can give you indicators. Okay, and now you have to say that okay, this indicator means what. It is the level of training. Like I said, for example, I just now gave that example that if some people come on the airfield, that aircraft likely to come. I said in that breath that, okay, tomorrow you train your AI system that if 500 people have moved on that base, it is an indication that some aircraft are likely to come. It is a kind of
Hmm.
predicting future. But what have I done? What kind of set of rules I've given to this system? That whenever you see more number of people coming, I have to define it, that you will then indicate that some aircraft are due, okay, or it develops algorithm. Okay, just give me a second. It also could be possible that some new rooms or some new hangars are being built up, so 500 labors have come. Even that could be true,
Quite
right?
possible. Hmm.
Quite possible. So now what happens is, over a period of time, okay, it will have to now get trained or develop its algorithm. Let's say that if this kind of people come, then it must say so. That these people who come in 500 number, have they, you see how intricate it can get. Have they come through the main gate by in a line kind of thing, one by one, one by one? So is their behavior like labor, or is their behavior like soldier? Or were they flown in an aircraft that suddenly at one place in one satellite pass, it find nothing is there. Next satellite pass, I find that a place which is about 5 kilometers from the gate, there are, suddenly 300 people have gathered there. So it's not possible for 300 people to come from that far to this place in a matter of 2 hours, let's say, or 6 hours, when my next satellite pass is there, or at that time of the day. So it develops its own algorithm that these people must have been flown in. If
Sure.
these people must have been flown in, then they're probably soldiers. Okay, so what kind it's going to indicate, that predictive behavior, okay, is what you train it to do. Like we said, the traffic is a kind of predictive, no, that you're likely to take so much time. Based on what does it tell you? It calculates that, okay, traffic is like that, this is like that, this is like that. So this is how it's predicting your arrival time to a place, because you've given it a set of rules. So similarly, if you train the AI system like that, I'm sure it can predict
Create a
what is
prediction of
going
some
to
sort. Hmm.
yeah.
Naveen says Bharat showed its power of talent in AI during Chandrayaan 3 maneuvers and landing. How long it takes for Bharat to integrate AI completely in military and indigenous AI intrusion detection systems?
No, AI intrusion detection
Decades.
systems are, sorry,
I would say decades. I
decades.
mean,
No, I mean the foolproof. You see, what happens is, intrusion detection system. It is that, at what level are we talking? Am I talking intrusion into my airfield? Am I talking intrusion into a country? Okay, or intrusion into a camp? So at what level we are talking of it depends now. All mostly assets which are high value assets are getting automated. I mean, you do have various assets planted that which will trigger alarm. Now, what is, you see, some simple way mein AI has been coming. You go to a mall, let's say, high end stores, okay, their cameras have got AI embedded because they are watching people's behavior. There is a normal pattern of people, the way they behave, right? Now in a mall, he knows that people generally enter from here, they go like this is the
what is the
path they
common
follow.
behavior pattern? Hmm.
You find somebody starts going next to the wall. You find somebody is going on its haunches. You find somebody is just runs from place A to place B. All cameras will automatically focus there. And now the guy who's monitoring, he's got hundreds of screens. How does he make out ke kahan pe gadbad ho rahi hai? Okay, so this is a kind of one level of algorithm thrown in. So you keep expanding this in quantum, and you can keep building in system. Chandrayaan 3, I mean, that's a different sector altogether. What takes to do that, because again it was set mission. I doubt whether it had a that kind of thing built in, that if not here, then what is to be done. It was to follow a set pattern, which was being monitored, that it is, there was a kind of rough line drawn, then they were monitoring, is it going as per that or not. They precisely knew at this time it should be here, at this time it should be here, at this time it should be here, and it followed that path intelligently, I would say. How many variables it catered for and things like that was all, so many data points were fed in, and huge number. That's what Chairman ISRO said, that when they made, took lessons from that last mission, Chandrayaan 2, the more number of data points were fed in for every place, which
That's
made
the
it more.
problem, na, sir.
Yeah,
So AI today requires somebody to feed in the data points rather
absolutely.
than a self-learning system.
There is no escape, but advanced, like I said, to some an extent, it is capable when it comes to networking, from that machine learning, what we call, or something. There is work on, and to some an extent, success also, that it does develop its own algorithms. That, okay, if this is this, then somewhere, if I, in very simple terms, if it says A is equal to B and B is equal to C, then probably it is getting capable of deciding that A must be equal to C.
So, last few, sir, Batraji says AI is basically dumb, just analyzing big data and then sorting out the best results. Exactly, I think.
Broadly, I mean, it's
He's,
I would say, not a good idea to call it dumb, because after all, it's being, we are treating it as intelligence, because it does help mankind. Not at all did I try to undermine the AI, because the things that it does are humanly impossible. I just myself said, imagine analysis of that airbase. It is not humanly possible to do it. So it is doing things intelligently, doing things quick. All that I am saying is, we must play our part quickly, I mean, correctly. Okay,
yeah.
it is not correct to not feed in data correctly and expect wonders from it. It will do a good job. When we were kids, there used to be an essay that, technology is good servant but bad master. Okay, because technology that time was very, very limited. Probably electricity itself was a technology, you see, that people said that, it can serve you very well, you have control over it. Moment it starts
Mm,
mastering you, then there is a problem. Okay,
yeah.
so similarly, this AI is fantastic. I mean, your future, you lag behind in it, you are doomed, I would say. You need to work very, very hard, and unfortunately, I think we have to pull up our socks as a country also. There is a lot of talent, mind you. AI, I believe AI qualified engineers, I mean, the data says that have increased 14 times in 4 years itself. Okay. But what have they done? I mean, what is coming out of it is, still probably questionable. I think we can become leader in this sector. There is a good chance to do that. Okay. Provided we invest in right kind of infrastructure and right kind of push.
Gumnami Baba asks, how do you assess the current state of AI development and adoption in Indian military compared to other major air forces in the world?
Oh, I would say that, we are doing our best. It is kind of work in progress. How much, this is a guarded, I would say, secret with every military. I mean, nobody will exactly know what kind of capability what military has got. But yes, it's fair to assume that some countries, even, countries, UK, South Korea, Netherlands, Japan, etc., have done big work in this field. Okay, and we, our industry, like we said, we have to, bring up something really good in this sector, to say that, kind of stuff that we talked about, those solutions or something which people can uh, emulate or buy. I mean, do you develop some product in India, AI based product in India, which the world which can be marketed to the world? I think that will be the testing ground. And you see, what has happened is, when space and nuclear force came into being, okay, they were again, like, these are the few things which have changed the world dramatically. Correct. Like, launch of a mobile phone was a drastic change. After that, only models have changed. Okay,
Yeah.
so space, going into space was a big thing. Nuclear weapon was a big thing. Similarly, AI is going to be a big thing. I mean, I'm putting it in that category, you see. So I'm alive to the situation. What can it do? But while space and nuclear weapons were controlled by the government while they were developing, unfortunately, AI, not unfortunately, I mean, incidentally, AI, other than China, everywhere else is market driven. It is
Hmm.
not government driven. That is why if it was government driven, then government won't have to plead to people, please be responsible, please be ethical, please be this, please. Then it will control, right? Now, only for nuclear weapons, governments only tell governments be responsible. Nobody tells its markets or citizens be responsible, right? But for AI, since it is market driven, people, are its boom is very much possible. Provided the market invests to correct R&D in this sector.
And the last one, can a dogfight be AI modeled?
A dogfight can be AI modeled. It will be like that F-16 example which I gave. It flies without pilot. And has to do dogfight. It will have to do based on AI only. What else? So
Fantastic.
you see simulator. There are twin dome simulator. Where you train people for air combat. So you fly an aircraft, you program, let's say, while sitting in a Mirage 2000, I want to fight F-16. So that simulator simulates the Dome F-16 for me. Either another pilot can fly, or it automatically flies. So when it flies automatically, it is modeled. This the way people play computer games. You fight one aircraft with another aircraft, right? Because that is completely modeled. That set of rules, it follows that this is how you will do maneuvering, and you're maneuvering against each other. When you move the stick left and do this, how does the aircraft behave like that? All that data feeding only, right? So
Hmm.
now, based on AI, if everything is fed into that, all the data points are fed in, and if that aircraft, which is AI piloted, has to do a dogfight, that dogfight will be based on AI.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Sir, this was a mind-boggling episode. Let me assure you, people are. I have a lot to think about with regards to this, because one of the biggest things that I learn is that the plethora of information that can be actually absorbed by an AI platform is nowhere close to what it should to be able to be called an artificial intelligence platform
Yeah.
by itself, by the name of it itself. So it's intelligence to a certain extent, which is, I would say, programmed intelligence would be a better word for this particular situation, because I don't think it is artificial as of now. By what you've explained it to us, and with the whole thing around, I think it's this is an amazing episode which will bust a lot of narratives, sir. So thank you so much for taking out the time for doing that. Always a pleasure talking to you and listening to you and learning from you, sir. And I'm sure the audience feels
So,
likewise, sir.
thank you. Thanks a lot.
And
And I appreciate your audience. They really are amazing lot.
for
Always
the
enjoy with them.
for the next one on quantum, sir. Till then, Jai Hind.
Let's see. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.